What's up everyone, the Game 2K2 here again, and today I continue my review of the Harry Potter franchise with the film adaptation of The Order of the Phoenix. While most people were surprised that Alfonso Cuarón did not return for the Goblet of Fire, most fans were not surprised when Mike Newell did not return for The Order of the Phoenix. However, what would be the big surprise was that the director's chair would be given to David Yates. This would be a big surprise because no fan had ever heard of David Yates, and to top it all off, when we all found out about his background, he had never done a big-budget film, which caused most fans to panic. The story centers around Harry's 5th year at Hogwarts, and things aren't getting any brighter, as he and his cousin Dudley are attacked by Dementors during the summer break, and Harry is expelled from Hogwarts for using the Patronus spell. His expelling is put on hold, however, by Dumbledore, who requests a hearing with the Ministry, which turns out to be a full criminal trial. However, after a few arguments by Dumbledore, the charges are dropped and Harry returns to Hogwarts. However, things get worse as many people begin questioning Harry and turning against him because they choose to believe the Ministry that he is lying about Voldemort returning. To top it all off, he begins to have nightmares that actually turn out to be real-life actions that Voldemort is doing. After seeing Ron's father attacked at the Ministry in his nightmares, Snape tries to teach Harry how to block off Voldemort from invading his mind. However, as the story progresses, Voldemort tricks Harry into believing that he has kidnapped Sirius and has him at the Ministry. This is all to get Harry to grab an object known as the Prophecy that tells the story between Harry and Voldemort. This then turns into a full-fledged battle at the Ministry. There's actually a lot more to the story, but that's pretty much the main plot. There's also Harry forming Dumbledore's army and him learning about the Order of the Phoenix. The book is actually the longest in the series, which is why there's so much plot. Ironically, the film itself would be the shortest in the film series. This actually ends up being a good thing because David Yates' background at the time was mainly television, and this shows in The Order of the Phoenix because the plot is the most fast-paced out of the entire series and never slows down. And this actually ends up being a positive element of the film because, unlike the previous installments, it doesn't stall in its pace and keeps moving. One thing I've also noticed with Yates when it comes to The Order of the Phoenix is that, unlike the previous directors, he doesn't believe in a lot of dialogue. The whole courtroom scene, the battle at the Ministry with the Order facing the Death Eaters and Dumbledore facing Voldemort, the dialogue is kept to a minimum, and the visual presentation is heightened, letting the actions on the screen tell the story and not just the dialogue, which I think works out a lot better. However, one problem that this does pose is that the emotional elements in the movie are not quite as effective with the faster pace. Sirius's death feels a bit glanced over, and the romance between Harry and Cho feels a bit rushed too. Stuff like that I felt could have been a bit more slow-paced. I think the only emotional element that really pays off in the movie is when Voldemort invades Harry's mind after Voldemort battles Dumbledore, and we see all the flashbacks. That scene actually worked out very well. On a side note, though, back to the romance, and this is something that I'm stunned that most people didn't catch. If you watch the film, you actually see a little subtle hints at Jenny's feelings towards Harry. If you didn't catch it, watch the scenes where Harry and Jenny are both in the same scene. You'll eventually catch it. However, I can honestly say that a miracle has occurred in the Harry Potter franchise, and this is the biggest irony of all. The one director with the least amount of experience in the big-budget film world is actually the best action director to come into the series. I mean it, the action in The Order of the Phoenix is phenomenal. The whole battle at the Ministry, especially the battle between Dumbledore and Voldemort, that scene is unbelievably well done. However, I've noticed that a lot of movie fans love the action, but a lot of book fans don't, because there was a lot of dialogue between Dumbledore and Voldemort in their battle that wasn't in the movie. Like I said before in my previous reviews, some things don't transfer so well from book to film. Dialogue during a fight scene in a book makes sense, but dialogue in a fight scene in a movie doesn't. Because in a fight scene in a movie like this, it needs to be fast-paced, and the dialogue just slows it down and ruins the intensity of the scene. When it comes to the CGI, this is the only film in this series where I have mixed feelings towards it. For the most part, the CGI is really good, but for some reason a few elements didn't turn out so well. I didn't like the look of the centaurs. I thought they were a little flat-looking. My biggest complaint is actually Grubb. He looks way too cartoonish in this film, which doesn't make him seem believable. However, I love the look of the Threstles, and the many spell effects and the effects used for the battle at the Ministry are phenomenal. The acting is once again top-notch. There were a few new additions to the cast list, with the most dominant being Imelda Staunton, who plays Dolores Umbridge. I have to say, and I know people are going to disagree with me on this, but she is one of the greatest villains I have ever seen. She is a character that you just want to see killed at first glance. Her disturbing smile, her laugh, her heinous actions throughout the film are just cruel, and the really impressive part about it is that it's all very subtle. None of it seems forced in, it all seems natural to the character, and that's why it works so well. Then there's Evanna Lynch, who plays Luna Lovegood, and I think we can all agree that she is absolutely perfect for the role. She is just so adorably strange in the part that you instantly say that that was Luna Lovegood that was in the book. The last major addition to the cast is Helena Bonham Carter as Bellatrix Lestrange, and she is also perfect for her role. The element that actually sold Carter's performance to me was surprisingly her laugh. I love that manic laugh that she does for her character. All the previous cast returns and their performances are all wonderful. However, the biggest standout for me from the returning cast is Alan Rickman as Snape. His performance stands out because of one scene, and that's him introducing Harry to occlumency. His speech about Voldemort invading people's minds is both chilling and unbelievably well done. If you haven't seen it, I actually think it's on YouTube. It's a great scene. You should check it out. Overall, while not exactly the most loyal to its book, to me this is the most entertaining film so far in the series. The fast-paced story and the incredible action makes The Order of the Phoenix a standout in the series. Well everyone, that's it for now. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time.